Since we quit Season of Discovery, we're just about to watch more Classic Plus Hopium videos. We're about to ruin Classic Plus. Surely, he doesn't mean us coping so hard, Blizzard is doomed to fail us because they're so incompetent, they cannot even create a good Classic Plus experience after copying Turtle WoW.
As BlizzCon 2026 approaches, Classic Plus is closer than ever. But recent events prove that there is a very high risk of Classic Plus going to fail. And it's not because Blizzard is going to ruin it, it's because we are. As the famous game design quote goes, given the opportunity, players will optimize the fun out of a game. And unfortunately,
Yeah, but never forget about the first part of that sentence. Given the opportunity. Blizzard is constantly giving the opportunity to players because they don't bother to encrypt their code. It's being data mined within the first 2 minutes of it coming out, and they don't bother to actually hide any information. They have so many leakers out there, and it's completely on Blizzard. So what are we talking about here? It's not only the player's fault, it's Blizzard. I'm not saying that the players are completely absolved of all sin. Obviously, players optimize the fun out of anything, but Blizzard are enabling that. So we also need to keep that in mind.
Exact thing is looking like it's about to happen in Classic Plus, but it's actually not too late. And that's why I've made this video, because if we don't realize the dangerous difference there is between what we think we want and what the game actually needs,
you think you do, but you don't.
Classic Plus will never become a success. To understand what I mean, we have to go a bit back in time, back to 2004, and understand what made Classic such a good game to begin with. Back then, a group of guys who absolutely loved the Dungeons and Dragons campaigns wanted us all to experience the same journey, but just as a video game. You see, the fun in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign doesn't come from...
You know it's good when every single man in this room is bald and over 50. You know this D&D game is going to be fire.
What happens after the journey ends, but rather the journey
they're playing
throughout,
D&D. It looks so much fun.
That the heroes must overcome. And that's why they decided to create World of Warcraft, a game that was purposely made full of friction. Things such as learning weapon skills, traveling by foot, and completing lengthy, multi-zone class quests were all designed to make the world feel massive and your character's progression to feel very, very earned. Rewards simply took months, and leveling from 1 to 60 was a core feature of the game. All of this combined meant that...
Imagine making an MMORPG about the leveling and about the entire journey you went through and not about the endgame. Damn, that's crazy. I wish they implemented that with retail, but they never will. Now retail is all about the endgame infinite grind loop. It's all about Diablo style of cyclical gameplay that resets itself every couple of months, and that's it. They don't care about the journey. The journey doesn't even make sense anymore. If you're a new player, try to make sense of World of Warcraft, and I'll promise you, you never even get 1% of the lore done. Why? Because Blizzard deliberately did not fix their broken leveling system for years.
World of Warcraft had such an immersive world, and it consumed people to play for literally up to at least 10 hours a day, and I'm guilty of that too. But as time went on, the famous game design quote from Soren became true. You see, players started reaching max level in weeks instead of months, which was a huge problem because Blizzard had spent most of their energy and time on creating a very immersive journey, meaning that players had not much left to do at max level, but we wanted more, and of course, we were very willing to pay for it. Now to solve this, Blizzard listened to the community, so they started developing and introducing more and more endgame oriented content, from systems to raids and PvP challenges, just to keep us entertained. But slowly throughout many years, the game would change for the worse, because it became less and less about the journey itself, and more about min-maxing your character and optimizing your gear for even just the smallest percentage upgrade.
But that's Blizzard's fault. It's not the player fault. I mean, yes, players did want some of it, but Blizzard didn't have to listen to everything. If you're listening to every single wish and whim of your player base, you're stupid, and you don't know how to develop a game. Players, opinions needs to be heard. They don't have to be implemented every single time. You kind of have to listen to both sides and draw your own conclusion based on the knowledge you have. It's that simple, honestly. And also, whenever Blizzard saw things were turning sour, they could always go back. But no, they chose to double down every single expansion until we reached an inevitable cascade that led to retail World of Warcraft today. And that's the problem. They can easily go back. You think they cannot disable Radar IO? You think they can disable all of these add-ons? I mean, how long have we cried out for add-ons to be disabled until they actually implemented some of it in Midnight? How long? It's been over 8 years. I've quit during BFA and people then ask for it. So they only implemented it now? That's a Blizzard issue. It's not a player issue. Like, they can easily go back. They can easily just copy Turtle WoW and make millions of money, but they choose not to. Because Blizzard are always opting for the path of least resistance because they're incompetent and lazy. All they care about is assigning all of their crew and all of their team on the next cash op skin.
Just to beat a timer. But that's why people were ecstatic back in 2019 when Blizzard re-released the classic version of the game.
Yeah.
Essentially,
what are we talking about? Oh, how much I love Blizzard.
Giving us that immersive experience and focus on the journey back. But the problem is just that you can take the player out of the min-maxing game, but you can't take the min-maxing game out of the player. As players had played WoW for so many years and started reaching max level in no time, we, the players, essentially felt like something was missing, because we had told Blizzard that we explicitly wanted the old version of the game with no changes, which meant that we couldn't measure our progress through systems that we had grown used to, and that's when we slowly started to ruin the experience of Classic.
There's lots of computer-generated boars in Warcraft that die with just one blow. Dude, boars are only worth 2 experience points apiece. Do you know how many we would have to kill to
That was such a great episode.
5,340,285.
Players invented the term parsing, which meant to just go to extreme lengths to optimize even the...
It means completely take the sweat off your balls and display it on graph. That's what it means. And it definitely ruined Classic.
Slightest percentage of gear upgrades and buffs to clear the endgame raids as fast as possible. People will literally stay locked out saving their characters' buffs just to clear Blackwing Lair 10 seconds faster than last week. Even PvP became nothing as it was intended, because the fastest way to collect honor would be to enter as many battlegrounds as you possibly could, but stay AFK. The whole idea of PvP and fighting other players literally meant nothing. But in the meantime, the retail version of the game was actually still going on, and Blizzard had already become very aware of what made Classic so good. And since they wanted to make retail just as good as Classic again, well, they started reintroducing friction into retail. Do you remember Covenants? We hated it because we were forced to make a choice between role-playing and optimizing our character. So Blizzard had to give up.
You always picked, how would they call it? I even forgot, like the Blood guys, right? Because they had the most broken ability ever. I guess it kind of depended, but Paladins were insane before they fixed them. You could have played Holy Paladin and deal more damage than the top DPS. You were the top DPS. It was insane. Yeah, min-maxers ruins everything. Obviously. But the thing is, you create an ecosystem for min-maxers to ruin everything. That's the problem. You don't have to do that. I mean, if min-maxer, want to parse in Classic, I think that's fine. Like, let them do that. But if you create parsing, if you make parsing like the golden standard that everyone has to uphold, that's become a major issue. And Blizzard are currently cultivating these people. So yeah.
Up and just abandon them.
No Twitch stream? I am on Twitch.
Flying by gating it behind an achievement that would take months to complete, just to make the world feel alive and massive again. But we rioted, and so Blizzard had to give up on the restriction. And this is where we have a huge problem with Classic Plus. Because if it's friction that we need in order to make the game feel like a journey and an immersive world that we actually want to spend time in, but we as the players reject Blizzard's every attempt at reintroducing friction to the game, then how can they know which features to add and which features not to add? Now, to answer this,
Well, weapon skill is not that important. Like, you can take it off. Most of the people won't even pay attention. Like, it's really not that important. Yeah, it doesn't matter what Blizzard does, they will find a way to min-max. Yeah, so just ignore them. That's what I'm saying. Listen, min-maxers always existed. They predated time itself, okay? Min-maxers exist in every single scene you'll ever do. It's not even about video games. Min-maxers are just, they're doing it for the sake of doing it. So you might as well just ignore them. Just keep them as the 1% and never adhere to their words. Just let them play the game, let them do what they do, and just make sure that your 70 to 80% of players in the middle actually have fun.
I want to show you something, because in an attempt to solve this, another WoW Classic fan called Jordan, or better known as Jordy, made a massive community-driven
We watched
survey
that.
to find out what we want. And he got over 300,000 responders. But in his supposedly successful attempt, it has become very clear that we don't even know what we want.
When I took this survey, I was like, oh my god.
Again, you're listening to a streamer. Oh, it's so annoying. What do you mean we? Do you think Zaryu is we? Zaryu isn't we. It's a one individual. Like, it's not me, it's not you, it's not everyone else. Like, just, like, please, let's just stop, dude. Like, let's just stop. Stop adhering to streamers' every whim. It's so cringe and pathetic. And don't get me wrong, like, I like Zaryu, he's a phenomenal streamer, like, clearly. But he's a one person, okay? It's just, we's just these people communities. I bet that most of these people aren't 100% like Zaryu. They're not mindless drones, even though everyone's botting on Twitch. Listen, it's a fact, right? But, like, most of these people don't think like him. Most people, if you gave them the exact same quiz, they would have had different answers. Maybe 70% of it was similar, but it still means that 30% was different. And that means a lot. So stop listening to streamers and make sure, and turning them into like hive minds and we need to make sure that they are satisfied because they are the core pillars of our game. No, just no.
Yes, Blizzard is gonna see this and we're gonna be able to have proof and say, look, this is what we want, Blizzard, now you can do it. In reality, after looking at this data, it's like, it's Blizzard proving to us that we don't know what we want.
Also streamers naturally just influence their audience, true. Like, you can think something and then Mr. Streamer say another thing and you're like, oh damn, maybe I need to think like Mr. Streamer. Like, that is absolutely true.
Now let me show you exactly why Saru is right. Because if we look at the raw data from the survey that Jordan had made, it is a complete contradiction. We're begging Blizzard for an improved but still old school classic experience. Yet look at what we're voting for. 50% is open to increased experience gains and wants attunements to dungeons and raids to either be removed or just majorly simplified. And 52%.
I don't think they want to be majorly simplified. And again, you can hit like a both-way solution. I think the way that attunements should be done is they need to be very tedious like the old days, but they should be account-wide. Like, you should have the achievement system, and once I do, for example, Onyxia attunement, I go through the hassle, I do all the dungeons, all of the quests, I get it unlocked as an achievement on my account, and whenever I open an ult, I just get it for free. Every single time. And by the way, they did that. They did that with TBC. You don't have to push keys anymore. You only have to do it once. So they already experimented with it. And that's great. It's working. People are clearly responding to it.
And voted for fast travel to be implemented. You see, by demanding to be this involved...
Nobody wants that. What? Wait, what?
Voted...
Should certain fast travel options be unlocked? Well, again, the question is so ominous. Should certain fast travel, you know how broad that is? Fast travel can go from, I can take a portal to I literally open the map, click on something, and I instantly there. So it can mean so many different things, right? It can also mean like faster transportation, faster tram, let's say between Stormwind and Ironforge. It can mean so many things. So the question itself is problematic. It's very vague.
For fast travel to be implemented, you see, by demanding to be this involved in the development of Classic Plus, we're essentially working against the game's original vision, and we're making it literally impossible for Blizzard to make the right choices.
No, it's not. TurtleWow did it. It's not impossible, man. Like, I'm sorry. I know it looks like I'm constantly clowning on this guy. Like, he's a phenomenal content creator. I've already reacted to his stuff. He's great. But it's simply not true. It's simply not true. TurtleWow existed. It had 500,000 players worldwide concurrently playing. We did it. Classic Plus existed, and it was great. It was taken away from us, and now it's Blizzard's responsibility to bring it back. And they need to make sure it's not the laziest DI millennial coded trash they've been delivered to us all throughout the years. No, they actually need to make it good.
History will literally just repeat itself. Over time, the risk of us turning Classic Plus into something like retail by optimizing the fun out of the game is bigger than ever. But there's actually a solution to this, because according to one of the creators of Path of Exile, Chris Wilson, the absolute worst thing you can do is survey your players and ask them what they want.
Because when you ask players how
There
to
you go.
improve the game's design in broad, solution-seeking surveys, you risk looking like you lack vision, you create expectations, you gather distorted information, and you can end up making worse decisions for the game as a result. But there's a big difference between listening to feedback and asking players to help you decide what your vision for the game should be.
Exactly. Because players don't know how it is like to develop a game, and they don't know what makes a game tick. Like, players aren't game developers. You can be a really great gamer, but it doesn't turn you immediately into, like, a really great designer. There's a huge distinction there. There's a huge disparity there, which, again, most players don't understand. So you definitely need to listen to the feedback, but don't implement it verbatim. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. Also, this man is, like, legendary. Go watch his channel. Like, he's truly is the peak game designer.
Now, it all boils down to this. Surveys such as the one that Jordy made ask the players to provide solutions, but instead, it should ask us to highlight the problems. The reason why we look like we don't know what we want is, according to Chris, because we as the players are inherently just selfish. And that's exactly why we see half the player base voting to skip the XP grind, and the majority begging for summoning stones and fast travel. When handed the power, we will always vote against friction. But this isn't just a theory, because someone else already tried to make Classic Plus with the exact approach that he describes.
Really?
And it worked. Now, most of you have heard about...
I mean, wait, weren't Jagex doing this, the developers of RuneScape? I mean, aren't they doing this right now? Aren't they continuously asking the players what they want to see inside of the game? But I don't know if they implement it like one for one, or maybe they do other things, but I know they're taking surveys, and I know they're listening to the community.
WoW. One of the most
I'm
famous
just not sure on
private
which
servers
scale.
started
And
as
there
a
we go.
passion project by a group of die-hard WoW fans who saw themselves create an alternative version of Classic. They used their own knowledge of the pains of the original game to develop what is now actually considered one of the best versions of Classic, but that was up until recently. May 15th, 2026, the servers went permanently offline. You see, Blizzard has been sending out cease and desists left and right to every private server out there, making a game that even resembles a slight bit of what Classic Plus is supposed to be. Including
Good old
Turtle WoW.
Blizzard.
Some speculate that it's very likely that Blizzard is trying to clear
Hey, if you can't beat them, just sue them.
out their competition before they announce their own Classic Plus. But by doing so, Blizzard has actually made it more important than ever that they get this right. Because now, the only way to play an improved version of Classic and essentially World of Warcraft will have to be the version of the game that they decide to make. Which brings me back to the core question of this video. Will Classic Plus be a major success, or will it miserably fail? If Saru, Soren, and Chris are actually right, then we don't actually know what we want. Because it's in our true nature to vote against friction, which is what makes the game good. And that's why the success of Classic Plus will ultimately rely on Blizzard to ask us where the problems lie, and never what the solutions might be.
I mean, I think he's wrong about that too. I did that survey. I remember reading the results. I literally have a video of it too on my channel. I don't remember players voting against friction. I think he just took really two specific examples and kind of put them on display. I don't think that's true. At least I don't remember it.
Just because we tell them what we want doesn't necessarily mean that it's what's best for us in the game. Now, I can't help but wonder, was J. Allen Brack to some extent right and knew about this?
He was literally proven wrong a few years after, and it was so good that he was the one who announced vanilla. The guy who told everyone you think you do but you don't was dead wrong. And he was embarrassed publicly on stage when everyone and their mothers replayed Classic Plus.
When he was
Classic, sorry. I added the plus because, you know, it is what it is. I'm too high on copium.
asked whether they would re-release the Classic game, but with no changes, essentially being a world full of friction.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous
There it is.
expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Thank you for watching, and I think
Man, that's a classic. Okay, it seemed to be the end of the video. Great video by this guy. I'm going to leave a link in the description so you guys can watch it for yourself. Give him a like. Truly a phenomenal content creator.